Hi, everyone. I'm Raquel Washington, and I'm thrilled to welcome you to this bold conversation on AI and learning and development with two powerhouse voices, Melody and Mandy. We've been talking behind the scenes about what many of you are feeling. AI is moving fast, and it's already reshaping how we design, deliver, and lead learning. There's energy, curiosity, and yes, a little fear. So today, we're bringing real talk to the table about the tools we're using, the impact we're seeing, and how we stay strategic, ethical, and future ready in the process. Let's start with quick intros so you know who we are and what we each bring to this space. So, Melody, tell us a bit about you and what you do.
Well, thank you, Raquel. Hi, my name is Melody Bussey. I bring over 20 years of experience in leading learning and development in large corporate environments. My company is the Equipping Network, and we partner with corporations, nonprofits, and educational institutions. Our goal is to equip teams with the tools to build an engaged workforce because we know that the data is clear on that engaged employees drive productivity, performance, and profitability. And I have a definite opinion on AI in L&D. Mandy, tell them about you.
Hey everyone, I'm so glad to be here with you guys. So my name is Mandy Smith, and I am the CEO of Mandy Smith Consulting. And I also come with 20 years of experience in learning and leadership development. And so my organization, we work with other organizations to help build up their learning and development teams and equip them with the skills that they need to really transform organizations. And then also have the pleasure of working with leadership teams and individuals to really grow those practical skills that they need so that they can lead with clarity and resilience, and really focus a lot on communication skills. And I also have opinions about AI. So I'm real excited about having this conversation and continuing it. Raquel, tell us a little bit about Innovate LS.
Yes, Innovate Learning Solutions. We help businesses design learning programs that boost performance and growth, specializing in onboarding, implementing sales methodologies, and leadership development. And we all have a lot to say about AI. So I think it's a good time for us to dive right in. How about you?
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it.
I'm
And
ready.
based on all of our experience, and if my calculation is correct, that's about over 70 years. We have a lot to say. Well, ladies, L&D is being impacted by AI. I would say the world. Should L&D be using AI?
Well, Raquel, I have something to say about that. I believe that, as you said, the world is being impacted by AI. And while I have some concerns about what AI can and may do in the hands of the wrong people, again, the world is using it. And so this train has left the station. And I think we either have to be on the train or get left behind. It really kind of reminds me about 15 years ago, I had this great leader, my VP in learning. And at the time, things were just moving faster because in the past, we always had the ability to create a PowerPoint and a participant guide and a leader's guide. And we'd make some great posters and games and different things. And we'd send it all to Kinko's to have it printed and pick it all up. And it was just all great. And well, all of a sudden, the business needed whatever they needed from us faster. And so where we may say, hey, I need 2, 3 months to get this done, they're like, you got 2, 3 weeks. And so I remember in that time frame, he said to me, Melody, we cannot be Blockbuster in a Netflix world.
Mm.
And at the time, Blockbuster still had a whole lot of stores, but they were in trouble. And Blockbuster had these stores. You could go in, you get your candy and your popcorn, and you see your neighbor and pick your videos. Netflix was this little company that was sending you videos through the mail, but you didn't have to pay any late fees. And that was really impactful on to me that we couldn't still be operating the old way in a new time period. And I think that's where we are today. We are operating in a new time period, and you just can't allow you or your company to become Blockbuster in a Netflix world. This is a Netflix world.
I think that is a really great point, Melody, right? we have an obligation, I think, and a unique position within organizations when we're in that learning and development leadership role to help organizations transition from Blockbuster to Netflix, right? And I think to your point, there's reason for concern. There's reasons why individuals and leaders and organizations are resistant. But to your point, it's here. And so I think we are uniquely positioned to help really drive those organizations forward and help put things in place, some guardrails, if you will, to help our employees understand how to utilize these tools to create efficiency and to speed up processes so that they're not creating additional risk. I think, we've talked about too, we've got to equip people with how to utilize it in the best way. I think from an L&D standpoint, there's tremendous value in being able to get curriculum developed faster, to get e-learning out to the people quicker. But we also have to make sure that we're equipping people with the knowledge and understanding around how to use it so that it's not an excuse for laziness. We're not just going out and using AI to just create a course and then throwing it out there. We still have to vet that information. We still have an obligation to go through and make sure that the information that's being shared is being provided in a way that is accurate and is clear. And I think we're uniquely positioned to be able to help with that.
Absolutely.
I definitely agree with both of you and your concerns. In the wrong hands, AI could be a nightmare, but I see so many
Mhm.
opportunities right now. It comes down to us, L&D leaders, to put the right policies in place. Am I concerned? A bit, but I'm more excited. The best L&D professionals are the ones that are more adaptable. So I don't
Mm.
believe this AI train is slowing down. And I think we need to hop on or we'll be left behind, literally. So I'm
Can
excited
I
about
add
it.
to that?
Of course.
Sorry, I know this is a conversation. I'm going sideways, but I think just based on what you just shared, it reminds me that learning and development should have a seat at the table, right? We all believe that because we've seen the impact that it can have on organizations and performing at higher levels. But I would also encourage folks that are in those leadership roles, formal or informal, if there's not a table, or if there's no one at that table having the conversations about how are we going to utilize AI in our organization, how are we going to utilize it within our department, whether it's L&D or operations or sales, if those conversations are not being had, every day we fall a little bit further behind, right? So if that table isn't set, I think L&D leaders can set that table and invite all the right people in to make sure that we have those guardrails in place to help mitigate that risk, right? Having somebody from IT, having somebody from operations. I think we can lead that conversation to help really come up with a strategic plan that works for that organization.
Absolutely.
That is true. That's very true. So, how are you currently using AI today? Like, what are some of the tools you've been using and how are they working for you?
So I can jump in. I am obsessed with learning whatever I can about all the different ones that are out there. I am loving my friend ChatGPT, as I'm sure everybody is,
That's my
and
buddy.
constantly learning. Right? He's just the best. Um, and there's so many applications for it. Um, and being able to learn a little bit more about how do we hone those things and how do we create our own chat gpt tools within there to really help deliver the things that we need. So I'm using it as a springboard for research for curriculum and for classes and to build out things like that. There's a tool that I've been using called Motion, that is an AI driven tool that helps manage tasks and projects and plot things on your calendar to help you stay on track. Loving that. There's one called Descript that I'm loving for video editing because it just makes that easier. I'm sure you guys have experience. There's a very specific skill set that is required for people who are editing videos, creating e-learning. And I think this really helps to fast track that. And when we are talking about technology, I think it's worth mentioning that there's a lot of learning and development specific tools out there. And technology partners out there. And I think we have a really cool opportunity right now to look at what are they doing and are they leveraging those things. There's different learning management systems that are really diving in and doing some pretty innovative things.
Yes.
I looked at Skooks is one that I know that I looked at a demo for, and it's really cool to watch how these technologies are helping us to deliver very personalized learning experiences for the learner, which we all have talked about it over the years of knowing each other, right? Of how important it is to create that really custom approach for each learner to deliver them what they need so that they can go and apply it, because we know that's when real behavior change happens. But that's really difficult to do if you have a small team of L&D professionals and an organization that you're trying to support. And so I think there's some really cool things that are continuing to come out that are going to help serve our space really well. What are you guys using?
Well, Mandy, I'm using Chat GPT as well. It has been really a game changer. Really, I like one of the points that you made. One of the things about learning and development is that we are a support function. And so what happens is often we don't have enough people to get done all the things that need to get done. This is an opportunity to take some of those things that humans may not be required for and give it to ChatGPT or some tool to actually start that process or help with that process, assist in some way with that process. I think I would say one of the things about it that I made sure that I do when I'm using it and the how I'm using it is that prompting that we're talking about so often related to that really can be key. Like a lot of the things that I'll do is related to marketing, because that's not my area, it's not my jam. So I can do it, but it takes me a lot of time and I'm bouncing back and forth. Whereas with ChatGPT, I can tell it, you're a marketing specialist. I need you to create me a flyer on this new class. And if you ask ChatGPT in that process, what do you need from me? It will come back and tell you a list of things. It'll say, I need the audience, I need the date, I need the time, I need this, I need that. And then that in order to give you the most effective information, because it's acting almost like a marketing specialist at that point, right? It's going to do its due diligence. If you don't tell it to ask me what you need from me, give you something anyway, but it's not going to give you its best. And it's not going to tell you, you need to tell me this and this and this. You have to ask it that. And so that's been a prompt that was really key for me. And so I think whatever I get back from it in all areas, because I use it in some of the areas you spoke to as well, Mandy, I then review that information and I edit it. I may send it back to ChatGPT and tell it, okay, I need you to do this, change that. I never get anything back that I think is perfect. I put that human touch into whatever I'm doing, and then I'm making sure that it is correct. And one of the things that I really love about it is that you can tell it where you want to get your sources from. Not just tell it to cite the sources, but tell it which sources to use. So if I'm wanting a class on COVID, what is the COVID situation for the United States right now? I may tell it, I want you to go to the CDC, the World Health Organization, and the Mayo Clinic or something. And it will only go to those sources. And that way, it's not checking a source that's just some guy in his basement that thinks he knows everything about medicine. And so I think that that prompting really can be pretty important. But I am loving the opportunity to use it as an assistant, a thought partner. It can help me speed up things. Raquel, how are you using it and what are you using?